Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to the channel. It's OBS Bryce. I know OBS Bryce. It's mostly truck stuff on my channel. I just finished this rendition of my Lexus, and I've been driving it around. I have a couple issues I'll touch on. Maybe you guys could help me out. But I've never done a complete rundown, walk around modification list. I've never really showed the Lexus too much, except some older videos. I want to tell you guys about it. It is a 1993 Lexus SC400. I bought this thing about 14 years ago, 100% stock. Bought it from the original owner. It had a 1UZ, the V8 with an auto in there. Went through a couple little, it's been through quite a few renditions. First the first big upgrade was a 5-speed. I put a R154 transmission in there, and then I did an LSD rear diff, and then I turboed the 1UZ, and that was like, I don't know, 2012-ish. Wasn't great, you know, technology isn't what it is today. The 1UZ is pretty stout motor. I liked it. It had potential, especially with like a Holly Terminator or something, you know, with like I said, technologies came a long way. You could make that pretty sweet. The car is originally black. This is a wrap. I did this a couple years ago just because I got a wild hair up my ass, and I said, hey, I want to learn how to wrap cars, and I did it, and it's not great, so don't flame me too hard if you see it lifting or peeling or whatever. It is a couple years old. Underneath the hood, it's got a 5.3 liter iron block LS. It's a Gen 3 with Gen 4 internals, 706 heads, BTR double valve springs, BTR push rods, Little John Motorsports, Stage 2 turbo cam. It's got LS9 head gaskets, ARP studs, LS6 intake manifold, Snake Eater 1500 injectors. It's got dual Walbro 450s with a 22-gallon fuel cell that I did all custom in the trunk. Got a 7875 right there. Gen 2.5 billet VS Racing with a 125 AR T4 exhaust turbine. If I'm getting too technical, this video is probably not for you, and you want to just leave right now because it's going to be real tech heavy, getting into all the specifics and lots of rambling. So just a forewarning. LS400 big brakes on there. I have a welded 408 rear diff. I have a one-piece 3.5 inch aluminum drive shaft. Every single bushing and ball joint, all the bushings are Prothane bushings. All the ball joints and control arms were brand new, new old stock. Megan 32-way adjustables on there. The coilovers, they're whatever. I have them a little stiff right now. I'm probably gonna soften them up. It has a tile blow-off valve and an HKS wastegate. The turbo kit for the LS was built by me 100% in this garage right here. The motor mounts built by me. Trans, it has a 4L80E with a Jake's Performance triple disc billet converter. It's got a big True Cool transmission cooler. Shift kit that I put in, and it seems to work okay. It's got a Jack Fab oil catch can, thing's badass. The old setup, the old Turbo LS setup, I did have a T56 6-speed in there, and the T56 was cool, but my car made about 600 wheel on pump, and it wasn't that fun. Some people are gonna call me crazy, but the clutch was a little too stiff. Yes, I could have put a twin disc in there, and I just didn't. I figured, hey, I was already power hungry. I was like, E85 was becoming more readily available in my area, and I was like, I got the bug. I wanted to go a little bit more power. You know how it goes. I wanted a bigger turbo. I wanted a bigger fueling system. I wanted to go E85, and I just knew that the T56 wasn't up to the task, at least the F-body T56 that I had. So I decided to sell it before I blew it up and I sold it for, I don't know, I think $3,000. I sold the whole 5-speed swap for, or the whole manual swap for my Lexus for, the pedal and all that shit. I bought an 80E from a guy locally, and then put the shift kit in there, bought the converter, had the drive shaft shortened, and it is on a Holley Terminator X, which is pretty sweet. The old setup was a 78-75, just with a smaller hot side. It was like the first gen journal bearing cast. It was cool. It made 600 and it was fun. That was a Gen 3 internal 5.3, which I did bend the rods on, and I didn't know they were bent. When I sold the swap, I pulled it out. You know how it goes, refreshing the engine, and I just noticed the rod was bent. So I did what I did now. The body kit was like one of the first mods I did to the car as far as the exterior mods. It's a Vertex replica, just fiberglass kit that I modified myself. I put these over fenders right there. They're from Czech Republic or something. I ordered them online. They came, I modified them. I modified the fenders. I built the rear diffuser. We can go check that out. So honestly, it might be cooler if I just kind of walk around and talk about it instead of you guys looking at my ugly face. All the HVAC is still in the car, and I will be putting an AC compressor back on. I'll talk about my cooling issue after I give a rundown on the car. In case you guys don't care about the cooling issue, then you can just leave after you see this cool Lexus. I have a 4-inch downpipe with a wastegate, bumper exit. Yes, those are XXRs, and no, I don't give a fuck that they're fake. Fake, whatever. They roll. They got brand new tires on there. I ain't tripping. VS Racing 7875 next gen billet with the 4-inch exhaust. The high beam delete, did that. I actually, you could see I did a little mods on the bumper. The little lip kit arrow. My nephew used to work at this place in City of Industry that sold that stuff, and so he picked these up for me. I think they look pretty cool. Are they functional? Probably not, but they look sweet. They look the part. This is a real carbon fiber hood, but the old 1UZ did catch fire. You can see right there, and when it did, it ruined my clear coat. So I wrapped it. These vents right here, I hand cut those like 8 years ago. They're all aluminum, but I have since made a CNC CAD file. Let's see, let's go around to the interior. I got Soarer seats. These are manual seats, cloth, tan. I actually want to sell them because they're gonna get sold or they're gonna get dyed, and I don't really want to dye them. This is a gray interior car. I got some carbon wrap on there. I got an old steering wheel. I got a new steering wheel coming right now. I got a Tinker Dash, a 7-inch on order. I got a little head unit that is from TikTok and it sucks. I got a laptop mount, which is cool. I got my auto shifter in there. Let's see what else. See those rear fenders, those rear over fenders. I did that. I got 95 taillights on there. I got the KBD ducktail, a C-bin carbon fiber trunk, and there is my fuel cell. And the batteries back here. That is just a plastic tank that I made custom brackets for, and I made a custom dual fuel pump hanger. It actually works great. Another cool little thing I decided to put in, since you fill the fuel there, you got a charging port. Charging positive, negative. You want to charge that battery up. This rear diffuser I built myself. See, I got solid subframe bushings back there. I did cut the spare tire well out of the car. Yeah. It's pretty clean. I like it. You can see my shitty wrap. Don't really care, but car made 600 on the old setup on pump gas. So with the bigger turbo, the E85, the Holley Terminator, I see this setup doing at least 150, 200 horsepower more if I go get it tuned. But first I just want to drive it a little bit and work out the bugs. As of right now, I am having a cooling issue. I guess I could get into that and start talking about it. This coil radiator is probably about 13 years old now. It was one of the first things I bought as far as underneath the hood goes. And it is a factory Mark IV Supra coil radiator, which worked. The whole core support on this car is a tubing core support that I custom built myself. I had the radiator long before the core support was done. So yes, I can absolutely fit a larger radiator in there now. That's probably has something to do with it, but these are Ford Taurus fans. They're 13-inch Ford Taurus high speed, low speed fans. These things usually rip pretty good, and I have two. So it is fully shrouded. When I can talk about my cooling issue a little bit more. So when I'm at a stoplight and I come to a stop, my fans are on, it doesn't pull the temp down. So me thinking that would be, oh, the fans are tired, they're not working properly, or that's what you would think, right? That the electric fans are just not up to the job, and since they don't pull the temp down, they're not working. Yeah, that was what I would guess too. But when I'm driving, cruising 50, 60 miles an hour, the temperature doesn't get pulled down either. So usually that when you're driving that fast, that has nothing to do with your fans. So that would be an airflow issue moving through the bumper across the core of the radiator. So is it possible that those two fans are shitty and I have an airflow issue, which the front of the bumper, you know, I could open it up a little bit more. You can see this is like the 97 style, so it does have that little grill opening. I was thinking about cutting the fog light opening back up and just putting ducting in there. And then I have this whole lower section open. The sides of the radiator shrouded, and underneath of the radiator shrouded, and on top of the radiator is shrouded. So any of the air that is coming through is being forced across the core, I think. What I'm thinking is I can this core I believe is 26 inches wide by 17 inches tall, which is the factory dimensions. I can fit now with the tubing core support, the tubing front end, I can fit a 31.5 by 20, which is a bit extra surface area on a core. And this is a top to bottom flow. I forget what they call that. But I know a superior radiator design is a cross flow. So it goes in, across, and then out. You could even get a dual pass cross flow, which would be nice because it would put my inlet and outlet on the passenger side, which would actually simplify the hose routing just a little bit, and I think it would look cleaner. That line wouldn't have to come across, which it does get kind of close to the turbo. So you see my upper line goes and then runs across. It is next to the turbo. That could be hurting it. I could get a cross flow that has you can see right here, there's my thermostat housing. Lower radiator hose goes down, which is not helping going next to my exhaust. either, but if I do an inlet and an outlet on the same side, it would at least get rid of half of the issue, and I'd get a larger core, and it would be cross flow, and I could get a dual pass. Do I see if the fans are bad, or I don't know? What do you guys think? Definitely, I think a larger radiator core is going to be beneficial, and I'm probably going to go ahead and go that route. But these fans, these Taurus fans, are normally pretty good. These seem pretty good. I have them staged to come on. I don't have it spiking my charging system. I have them staged. So, and it's shrouded. Is it too much shrouding? So when I'm driving, it's not being able to be pushed through the radiator enough? Should I do one single fan in the middle with less shrouding? Should I keep the two and then maybe drill some holes? You can see in there, should I drill some holes to let the airflow come through on the top and the bottom? Or is it straight up a ducting issue? You can see there is some space on each side. So is the airflow going in my bumper and then going around? Is the airflow just going around and going over there and not being forced through the core? I could kind of dam up these sides right here. You know, I could dam up that side and force it in. I could also cut my bumper so that the air can kind of go up. I could cut the high beams back out, get some air over there. I could also cut the front bumper and put some hole saws in there, some speed holes. I prefer not to. I prefer not to do the high beams, and I prefer not to cut right here. I'm down to cut the bumper. I'm down to put the little air dam in there. But I just want this thing cool because it's running pretty good. I just want to be able to beat on it. It is like 100 degrees out right now where I live in the desert. So my plan as of right now for the cooling issue is to get a 31 by 20 dual pass cross flow. That's what I'm going to do, and see if I can make a new shroud, or maybe do one fan, maybe do some experimentation with that. And I'm also going to cut the underside of the bumper and try and dam up the sides and see if that gets me any progress. So if you guys have made it this far, I appreciate it. Rambling, a little bit of overview on the Lexus, my cooling issue. If you guys have any insight into the cooling issue, I would greatly appreciate a comment. Learn something from just about everybody, and it could be simple, it could be a bunch of parts that aren't working correctly together, it could be that I'm stupid and I'm just completely not seeing something. If I missed anything on this video, or you guys want to see something a little bit more in-depth, just let me know. I'd be happy to show it. I've been kind of working on this in, I don't want to say silence, but kind of aside from all my truck content, and I'm driving it and it's fun, and I think you guys might enjoy it also. Here's another LS swap, but I like it. JDM muscle. If you want to see more of the Lexus, let me know. If you want to see more of the truck, let me know. Thanks guys. Like, share, subscribe, do all that stuff, you know, yada yada yada. OBS Bryce, talk to you on the next one.